Closer.
I'm not used to being on a loud hill. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today. It's great to be able to join with all the farming organisations in opposition to Mercosur. Mercosur is a very serious piece of work coming down the line at us, and it's very important that we are united in our opposition to such a deal. It's hard to countenance that such a deal would be made, knowing that such a gap exists between the standard of production that we have in the standard of production we have in this country and the standard of production in the countries that we are being asked to take these imports from. It's both hypocritical, I think, and it's contradictory to everything that has been said about how we produce. We're asked to produce a very high standard, high traceability. We're asked to produce a standard that makes sure that we have low emissions. And yet we're allowed to take in beef and poultry, because we sometimes get the poultry from. Yeah, take beef and poultry in from a country that has very little, if any, traceability, that has very low standards of production, and we can't see what is going on. If this deal comes in, we're being promised that we have safeguards. We don't trust those safeguards. DJ Sante told us only a year ago that they can't stand over the traceability of what's coming in. We know that if there's a disturbance in the market, we're told that we'll be compensated for that. That's like closing the door when the horse has bolted. Far too late. We have lost out before that ever happens. So we are absolutely, totally united against the Mercosur deal coming in. Next week is going to be a very key week, and we have to put huge pressure both on our Taoiseach, on our Minister for Agriculture, and on our MEPs. Our Taoiseach will be at the heads of state next week meeting in Denmark, and our Minister for Agriculture will be there as well. And they will have to stand their ground and make sure that Ireland is well represented and that they round up other support to oppose this deal when the decision is being made next week. And should that fail, the pressure then will come upon our MEPs that we must make sure that we've only 14 MEPs out of 711. But those MEPs are in the two main parties, I suppose, or maybe three of the main parties in Europe. And we have to put huge pressure on those MEPs to get support from their fellow MEPs to create that opposing bloc, that majority blocking that can be used still, even if it's passed next week. We can still block it if that group can be got together, that 35% can be got together. So the work isn't done yet. And even if things go wrong next week, I hope they don't, but if they do, the work still must continue to keep that effort to pressure on our MEPs to make sure that they get that majority, that working majority, to make sure that they can oppose what's happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. We stand fully behind every farmer who opposes Mercosur, because not only does it affect our beef and our sheep farmers, it also affects our poultry farmers. And I think we're all under pressure enough. Just because we've had one good year, one swallow doesn't make a summer. So there's a lot to be done still. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thanks, Alice, for that address. I'd like to ask John Joe, Saturday up on the hills now or so. That's your.
Hollywood. Sorry.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, look, I'd like to wish our friend Sean and Hugh here for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
How are you?
Look, this is a serious issue for all of us. The Irish Natura and Hill Farmers Association wish to express our deepest concern and outright opposition to the proposed EU-Mercosur trade deal. This trade deal represents a serious and immediate threat to the Irish beef industry, and in particular to our suckler farmers who continue to produce a world-class grass-fed premium product under some of the highest environmental and animal welfare standards in the world. If ratified, the Mercosur deal would open the European markets to large volumes of beef produced in countries where environmental, animal welfare and traceability standards fall far short of those required of Irish and European farmers. It would effectively force our suckler farmers to compete on an uneven playing field, one where their their commitment to quality, sustainability and regulation is punished rather than rewarded. Where we have heard repeated references to safeguards and protections being built into the deal. However, from our analysis, these so-called safeguards are weak, difficult to implement and ultimately unenforceable. The policing mechanisms in the Mercosur countries are not sufficiently robust to ensure that imported beef meets the standards demanded of EU producers. To pretend otherwise is to mislead both farmers and consumers. Let us be clear, Irish beef farmers are being used as sacrificial pawn in a bigger geopolitical chess game. While some may benefit from the increased export opportunities in other sectors, it is the Irish suckler farmer, the backbone of our rural economy and custodians of our landscape, who will pay the ultimate price. Today, the INHFA is calling on all politicians and political parties, regardless of affiliations, to stand up and be counted. The time for silence and compromise is over. We must send a clear and united message to Brussels. No to Mercosur, no to unfair trading, no, no, no. Irish farming, our rural communities and the integrity of our food systems depend on us. So a message out of here today to politicians inside the door: we are saying no to Mercosur and we expect you to say the same. Thanks very much.
Well said.
Thanks, John Joe.
Yeah, BBB. I got a couple myself with it. The fellow in front of us there is Hugh Ganley, the General Secretary.
As all farmers are here, and we all understand
Try to get it right.
And it's shown clearly here today as a unity, and that's really where we're going to win any.
Irish Cattle and Sheep Farming Association. That's who all these boys are.
I wasn't expecting to talk here, but ICMSC is very against Mercosur deal. Politicians are trying to muddy the water and put farmers against farmers, saying that Mercosur is going to be good for the dairy man and that we should be for it. ICMSA can see straight through that. There's no deal in this for dairy. South American countries produce their own dairy, more than enough for themselves. We're already in world markets, so that's a red herring, and we will not be pitted against farmers here. The beef industry is vital for the dairy industry in this country. The beef man is taking the dairy calves and producing an outlet for those animals. So the red herrings that the government and EU is trying to pit farmer against farmer is not going to run. We stand strongly with our fellow beef farmers. In terms of Mercosur, the EU is losing all credibility. They have, for the last several years, spent time and time again telling farmers that we have to be environmentally friendly, we have to be animal standards, animal rights standards, and then on the back of that turn around and say that they will do a deal with a country that has none of the standards that they have been implementing on EU farmers. It's just ludicrous, and they're losing all credibility, both in terms of environmental standards, animal welfare standards, and good food standards. Where they think they're going with this, I do not know. To sell out what the CAP was built for, which was for food security within Europe, and now to turn around and risk that in order to sell some German cars, it's beyond belief. So we say no to Mercosur, and hopefully we can stop it. Hopefully we can get support from the EU farmers to come out and stand against it as well, and with any luck we will be able to stop it. Thank you.
Hello, man.
Thanks, Roland. Thanks much. Jackie Flannery.
Jackie Flannery.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the second day Irish Rural Association stands at the gates of the Dáil, and that in itself is a sad thing, because it means that the government inside is not listening to us. It means that our MEPs in Europe are not listening to us. We are delighted to be here today because 2 years ago we called for the farm organisations in this country to work together. They are now working together for this aim here today. We support that as a voluntary lobby group. We say no to Mercosur because it will absolutely obliterate our beef industry, our suckler industry and our poultry industry. We cannot allow food to come into this country that is hormone filled, that is dangerous, that is not reliable, particularly when we have products in this country that is top notch. What worries me is that we have farmers in this country that have quality controlled and have done all of the work that is required for them. Why should they be continued to put under pressure to produce these prime products when you have rubbish products coming into Ireland? So from Irish Rural Association, the message is very, very clear. It's a no, no, no to Mercosur. And we support the farm organisations and we will continue to work with the farm organisations when and where we can on this issue. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, top woman, well said, PBB.
Thanks, Jackie. Look, it is our second day out here on different issues, and in fairness, it's sad that we have to be coming and spending our time fighting for something that should automatically happen. But we have to keep up the work. I'd like to call on Mighty Collins there, Deputy. Maybe there's a few words to say there, and the other deputy there in the background.
Okay, thanks everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank the ICSA and all the farm organisations that are here today. And as Jackie has just said before, this is our second day running, being inside here trying our best to protect the rights of the country people and the farmers in this country. And that's the position we should be. Work should be given to you, and they're failing in their right, most of them, to give it to you. Each and every day we hear inside here, knock the farmer, knock the farmer, knock the farmer. No, it's coming from Europe. So Europe is dictating to the boys inside to kick the farmer. But we must stand up, unfortunately, and stand together united. And we certainly will, whether it is in this country or whether it is in Europe. I can promise you, our man out there in Europe, Kieran Maloney, is a single voice for the people of this country and for the farmers of this country. Thank you. Every day inside Europe, he's standing for you. He's our voice, but he's also your voice. And we're blessed to have the man. But let me tell you, Independent Ireland will fight tooth and nail to get rid of this Mercosur. We have a lukewarm government inside there that are running with the hare and chasing with the hound. And that's no way for any government to stand. They stand with their people or they get out. If they can't stand with the people of rural Ireland and the farmers of rural Ireland, well, we will do that, and thank you very much.
Michael, bye.
Thanks, Michael.
You were winning, bye, Albert.
Sullivan.
The sun is strong.
Mahagiv, and thanks very much for all of you for coming here today. It was brilliant to meet farmers from every corner of Ireland and so many groups represented. We in Sinn Féin have stood with farmers on the issue of Mercosur going back many, many years from the very beginning. And it's very important that the government in there start to listen. They need to be called out. They've been trying to run with the hare and pull with the hound, sitting on the fence for years and just see which way the wind is blowing. It's very clear, it should have been clear from the beginning, that it makes no sense on any level whatsoever to flood Ireland and the European market with 99,000 tonnes of beef, 160,000 tonnes of imported poultry, all of it with substandard, while Irish farmers are over-regulated and regulated to an inch of their lives. Absolutely, there's a complete uneven playing field here. It doesn't make sense from an environmental point of view, it doesn't make sense from the point of view of farming, and it certainly doesn't make any sense from the point of view of the Irish consumer. I think this campaign needs to be broadened out. People need to see this is not just an issue of farmers. You often hear people getting dismissing farmers, saying, oh, the farmers are to get up here in Dublin. This affects every single person in Ireland who has a breakfast, a dinner or a supper, who eats meat or who eats poultry or any type of product like that. Because what we're talking about is substandard products which are potentially carcinogenic, being imported, and the EU have actually acknowledged that there is no way of tracing this type of product. So basically there's a danger of cancer, danger of carcinogenic products getting into the food chain, so it's bad for consumers, it's bad for Irish farming, it's bad for the environment, so this has to be stopped. We will continue, our MEPs, Sinn Féin MEPs will continue, our TDs, our senators, our councillors will continue to stand with farmers and to call out this rubbish deal. And the government really needs to get off the fence with this one, and people need to really pin them down and get them to nail their colours to the mast. So I'll leave it at that.
Sunshine in my eyes.
Oh yes, just to point out that Sinn Féin will be having a private members bill on this next week. We have meetings in the AV room yesterday also. We had representatives, we had Sean in here from the ICSA, but we will be taking this campaign further and have with our private members bill. So I'd like you all to tune in on that and to come back here and support and come back in even bigger numbers. So thank you very much for being here today and keep up the fight.
Thanks very much for that.
Sinn Féin had here. Price is not over the other side.
Hello everyone. First of all, well done to the ICSA and indeed all the farmer organisations. It's great to see that you're coming together on this. There's a reality here. Beef prices might be good at the moment. Lamb prices are average. The milk is problematic at the moment. Grain is very problematic. But let farmers be clear on one thing: if this deal goes through, everything will be problematic. Prices will be totally different. You'll have cattle coming in with no regulation, not tagged at the beginning. If you look at the way things go on, angel dust is frequently used in a lot of these countries. Well, Ursula von der Leyen needs to be given a message, and a message very clear. Either we want good food in Europe, produced properly at a certain price, or else she should resign, because it's a sellout of what the fundamentals of Europe stood for. We need to be realistic as well, folks, because this is coming down the tracks fairly rapid, and I believe that we need to lobby our MEPs everywhere. There was 45 or 50 MEPs abstained on the last vote. Twisting 2/3 of them would make a difference. And I know that Kieran Malooly and probably other MEPs are trying to work on them. But this game is going to be decided in Europe. This game is going to be decided in the Parliament and also in the Council of Ministers. Our Foreign Affairs Minister and our Minister for Agriculture needs to stand up and be counted and oppose this deal. For the simple reason, if you look at this great handbrake that them all talk about, they talk about if prices go down 10%. There's a reality here. If prices go down 9% for 4 or 5 years, the handbrake stays down and Irish farming is decimated. That's the bottom line. I would urge you all, through your TDs, through your councillors, and get on to your MEPs, because it's the MEPs that's going to be deciding a lot of this in Europe. We need to get Irish MEPs pulling on the Irish jersey for our country and for the betterment of Europe. Gormagan.
Thank you. Look, once again, thanks to everybody for coming out. We're not just finished yet, so there will be TDs we expect coming out from after questions in the dawn and other ones. So we need to be here to talk to them for a while, because after the wet day and the weather and everything, I know it affected our numbers, but it didn't affect our spirits.
You're right, you.
So thanks to everybody, and stay around there. I want to talk to you all, and we're arranging the soup and the sandwich next door, so I want to talk to you then on that. Thanks.
Fair play, you. Now, fair play, you. Sorry, Dad. Just got to cross this road, and they're still with me. The sun is strong. We'll see here for a minute. Let me see. Right folks, I'm going to have a little break, a cup of cha. I don't drink cha, that's a lie. That's that 420 fella. Not from me fucking teas and coffees all the time. I'm going to have a little break, I am. So I'll hang around, as I heard you say there, they're going to be speaking again, possibly to some TDs. So, we'll hover around, but for now I'm going to give my hand a break and have a little bite to eat down the corner there. So, whoever dropped in and commented, it's always great to hear you and see you. Thanks very much. And I'll see you soon. DC Rom's out for now. I'm just about to pop off, Keith. Sorry, brother. Yeah, no, cheers, bro. Just heading over to bite to eat there. I heard your man saying that there quite possibly be TDs coming out to talk to them or whatever. So I'll hang around, I will, and if I get that, I'll throw a video out or whatever. But there was a few, Keith, there was a few of them. There's a guy over there behind the fencing. It's going on a hunger strike Monday. You've, to the left of me down there, you've Ukrainian protest, and that's a deportation protest over there. They're saying that they've worked and paid taxes, they should be allowed to stay. So there's a few things happening outside the Leinster House. Oh, thanks, BBB. So yeah, all have a great day. Love yous all, and I'll talk to you soon. DC Rom's out. Bye. Can't see a thing.